My name is Lorna, and I've done the reverse of what Jamie did. So I spent the last 17 years outside the country, Silicon Valley, Cambridge, US, Cambridge, UK, in all the tech centers, trying to figure out how to bring the best of technology back to Africa and then build Africa. I serve now in all of ML AI for Google Research. So we're using AI for food security, weather, climate, health, education, sustainability. But today's stories will all be centered on our health work. And I look forward to interacting with you. My session will be interactive. So you may need your phones, your cameras. I have a QR code on almost every page so that you can go, delve in, use, apply. And I will finish off with a funding call from my sponsors who gave me money to give out. So, all right, let us go. Next slide, please. Oh, I have the controls. Cool. We are committed to helping everyone everywhere live a longer, healthier life. But we are a tech company. We won't get through regulatory screenings. We won't get through doing all the work that it takes to get technology to the patient. So we work with you all. We work with IGOs, NGOs, startups, hospitals, research universities to bring this technology to people. We have a lot of products that you all know. These are the ones you probably interact with the most, but I'm here to tell the story of the products we make that you may not necessarily know about. Before I begin, because I get asked this question everywhere, so I need to answer it a priori, we have a very strong leadership when it comes to ethical and responsible AI. Half of my work is licensing content and data so that we are using the right data, ethically sourced data, in partnership with local institutions to make sure that our models are trained correctly. So you can read more about our principles even before I begin there. And we'll talk about various models, but the core intention in all my work, all our work, is to increase access, increase time to treatment, time to diagnosis, and just overall make healthcare more accessible to the general population. We know there's a low doctor-patient ratio. We know you need to get as many screenings done as possible. Then you need to get doctor's notes out and diagnosis and treatment paths. And we're working on all these problems and solutions to all of these. We are doing our best to meet everyone where they are, but to do that, I need to work with all of you to bring these solutions to the forefront. I'll start with a very basic things we're doing that are accessible to people, even outside of the medical field. To all the doctors in the room, please don't look at us badly. I know I've been to hospital rooms where people are like, oh, you're coming to tell me what's wrong with you. Have you looked at Dr. Google? I'm sorry, we're not trying to just replace doctors, but we're trying to make health information accessible to everyone. So AI Overview, which launched just this year, is providing really helpful summaries. We get billions of queries, health queries every year, and we're trying to make sure that we give meaningful advice, but we're not trying to replace doctors. We're trying to make it easier for doctors to figure out what's wrong. Another publicly available tool that we are making available by use of phones is Google Lens, which we've tried very hard to also train on African skin sets to help give you pointers of what could be wrong with your skin so that you have something to start on when you go to hospital and get help via Google Lens. Again, not trying to replace doctors, just providing more useful insights. This one is for researchers or people who have friends who are researchers in the field of treatment creation. We have a Gemma or a Gemini where we have all these characteristics of all the different pharmacological components, biological components, how they react with different pathogens, different pathologies. And we're trying to make it more efficient to discover drugs, but I know this is more medtech, so interesting to look at, but maybe not the focus of this. If you have friends who are in the research field in Cambridge, in universities looking at new drugs, new treatments, send them there to look. The purpose here is to help them accelerate research. Things that would have taken decades of research, reading 6,000 papers hidden behind paywalls, we are now making more accessible with TX Gemma. Now, getting into something that will be useful for Jamie. Jamie, this one is for you. You're using a fancy stethoscope to get sounds to detect diseases based on coughs and breathing. And at Google, we're trying to figure out, can we do this with a basic smartphone? How many different pathologies can we detect with a basic smartphone? And with HEAR, the Health Acoustics Representation Model, which is open for you all to go use, try out, we have, I think, identified at least 14, COPD, COVID-19, TB, and the ability to differentiate this just with the breathing and coughing sounds on a device that even more people have. So this is open for you all to test, share, see if it's working well for you. And because it's a foundational model, it means that, God forbid, if another disease was to come up today, and it's COVID 2025, God forbid, it is foundational, which means you could train it on a small subset of positive cases, and it would learn how to detect that similarly as well. So again, this is open. Anyone in this field can play around with the model. My funding call applies to people who want funds to experiment with this as well. If you have a track record of work in this work, then this is for you. Then we just released our deepest, bestest medical image text answering model this year, MedGemma. We had released a smaller version last year, but this is really powerful because one of the biggest sets of feedback I've gotten is, oh my goodness, you guys, compute is expensive. Can you make something that is locally usable? So this has two models, the 4B and the 27B model. And the 27B model is trainable on your device. We have different startups who are using it for different things and different hospitals we're working with. One is using it for maternal health screening and conditions, which is really exciting. One is using it for X-ray image note-taking. So if you give it a picture of an X-ray, it can give you notes very quickly that doctors can then use and then layer on their wisdom very rapidly. People are also using it for medical note summaries. So there are times you get a new patient and there's like 15 pages of notes or 15,000, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. And it's really hard to synthesize what's going on with this patient. With MedGemma, you can create localized models for that patient and then interact with the model live and ask it questions that are specific to that patient alone. And back to our AI principles, we are not using that data to train our models again. It's isolated to your use case. So a lot of interesting and power capabilities here. But again, we are not taking it to the end. So we're working with different partners who are interested in various use cases, and whether there's text or image, there's a lot of possibilities here. Now, the most commonly used use case has been X-rays, but within the family of models in here, there's histopathology visual models. So for tumor classification, there's ophthalmology image, there's skin image, all sorts of medical images. We've pre-trained models that you all can fine-tune for your use cases. Again, all open and available for you all for testing. And if you come up with a really interesting use case, we can partner with you on the tech side, perhaps the funding side, and get you to a place that gets to impact, because my currency is impact. This part of Google that I work for is all about how many lives can we positively impact with technology. The whole family of models for all the models I just talked about is available here. Healthy Eye Developer Foundations, skin models, histopathology models for tumor classification, X-ray models. All of it is available there and open for use. And brief word from our other sponsors. One thing we talked about is how in the global LLM machine learning world, there's very few African data sets. So I'm consistently working with different consortiums to ensure that the models we create are well trained on data from across the African continent to make sure that the models we do develop and release into the world are representative of cases on the ground. This is a paper we wrote on skin conditions and the data set behind it. So if you're in the skin diagnostic world with image classification, the data set and the paper behind it are also available for you there. We also help a different part of health diagnostics. Developing health apps after you've made your diagnostic tools is a whole other beast. And we were trying to figure out if we can make it easier for developers to come up with FHIR standard approved apps for any kinds of diagnostic tools that you have developed. So we used AI to come up with certain modules that are required in health apps around the world. And they're all open and available for use. In Kenya, Intellisoft is one of our largest partners, and they've developed various chunks of software to help keep track of patient data in a very secure but accessible way to medics. So again, also accessible, usable for anyone developing solutions that need to store patient data. Everything I've mentioned to this moment is free, open models. You can use, build on it, etc. This one is more enterprise. Okay, that Adobe is not part of my presentation. Somebody please get it away. I'm not selling Adobe, promise. Okay, so behind this, what's going on is the enterprise version of our health tool, Vertex Search. So you guys may have used ChatGPT or Gemini to ask it particular questions. The Vertex version for healthcare, if licensed by a particular hospital, say Aga Khan University or Nairobi, we're using it with Mayo Clinic now, but it literally goes into the entire database of everything you have on a particular topic, patient, and allows you to have natural language conversations about any topic in the medical or clinical interaction with the data you may have in your system. And lastly, for the researchers, we also have AlphaFold, which is your best friend in understanding proteins and their reactions. So if you have friends who are, again, in the treatment, post-diagnosis phase, please send them the link. And the very, very last one that I'll talk about today is AI Co-Scientist. And this one is really, really powerful. It's currently in testing phase. But some of you may have seen the article where biomedical researchers had been working on a problem for 10 years, not published their paper, and right before they published their paper, they used AI Co-Scientist, and it came up with the same conclusions in 2 days. And it came up with 3 new solutions for them to try out, where all the scientists were like, yeah, indeed, we should check that out. So we're using this to accelerate paths to diagnosis, paths to treatment, paths to new drug discovery. We're currently testing it, but we hope to release it into the open market Q4 or early next year. We hope that we're building AI that will help everyone solve their challenges. And to support this, this is what you need to fill in. Now, it's time sensitive. I'm sorry this event wasn't earlier, and I didn't know about this money until just this week. But if you'd like to interact with any of these tools, Google.org is giving grants. The initial grants are in the $50,000 to $250,000 range for pilots on any of this tech. If you want to work on that, please sign up. I will be sending details on the template for the funding call tonight or tomorrow. Please get something in. Even if it's rough, even if it's not perfect, it's about a 1-pager, 2-pager tops. Get something in, and if your story and your impact is meaningful, we will be in touch and possibly help you move your research, your diagnostics, your tools farther. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor.